My name is David, and this is the story of how my wife's family spent 2 years calling me a worthless gold digger until I revealed that I'm worth more than their entire bloodline combined. When I first met Isabella at a coffee shop near NYU, I was just a regular guy in worn jeans and a faded t-shirt, working as a youth counselor at a local community center. She was this stunning grad student from a family so wealthy they had buildings named after them in Manhattan. Isabella came from serious old money. Her father, Richard Blackwood, owned half of the commercial real estate in Lower Manhattan. Her mother, Victoria, was literally descended from railroad barons. Her older brother, Preston, was a partner at a white shoe law firm, and her younger sister, Audrey, was married to a hedge fund prince. They lived in a $50 million penthouse on Fifth Avenue, owned homes in the Hamptons, Aspen, and Martha's Vineyard, and considered anything under 7 figures pocket change. At first, I thought Isabella was different. She seemed to genuinely care about social causes, volunteered at soup kitchens, and claimed she wanted to use her privilege for good. We fell in love over shared values and late-night conversations about changing the world. But then I met her family. The first red flag was Thanksgiving dinner at their penthouse. I showed up in my best suit, a $200 off-the-rack number from Men's Warehouse. Preston took one look at me and whispered to Audrey loud enough for me to hear, "Seriously? This is who she's slumming it with?" Victoria, her mother, was more subtle but just as cruel. "David, dear, what exactly do you do?" she asked, the word do dripping with condescension. When I explained I worked with at-risk youth, she literally laughed. "How charitable of you. And what does that pay? Minimum wage?" Richard was the worst. During dessert, he cornered me in his study. "Son, let me be direct. Isabella is worth about $40 million in trust funds alone. You work at a community center. Do you see the problem here?" I tried to explain that I genuinely loved Isabella, that money didn't matter to me. He cut me off. "Money doesn't matter to you because you don't have any. That's exactly why it matters to us." But I stayed quiet about who I really was because I wanted to be loved for myself, not my bank account. The abuse escalated over the next 2 years. At Isabella's birthday party at the country club, Preston introduced me to his friends as Isabella's charity case. When we went to Audrey's wedding in the Hamptons, they put me at the kids' table, literally with 12-year-olds, while Isabella sat with the adults. The breaking point came at their annual Christmas Gala, a black-tie charity fundraiser for Manhattan's elite. They were raising money for underprivileged children, the same kids I worked with every day. Richard stood up to give a speech about helping those less fortunate. "Some people," he said, looking directly at me, "are just born without advantages. They need our help to survive in a world they'll never truly belong in." The whole room of millionaires applauded while staring at me like I was an exhibit. Victoria leaned over and whispered, "David, maybe you should bid on something small. A weekend getaway, perhaps. Oh, wait, you probably can't afford the minimum bid." That's when I decided enough was enough. I stood up, walked to the auction podium, and asked for the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to make a special announcement about tonight's charity." Richard looked panicked. Preston was frantically making sit-down gestures. Isabella grabbed my arm, whispering, "David, what are you doing?"
"My name is David Chen," I continued, "and I've been working with underprivileged children for 5 years. The Blackwood family has spent 2 years telling me I don't belong in their world because I'm poor, because I work with kids who need help, because I don't measure up to their standards." The room was dead silent now. You could hear champagne glasses being set down. "What they don't know is that I'm not just David Chen, youth counselor." I paused for effect. I'm David Chen, founder and sole owner of Phoenix Technologies, which we sold to Google last month for $4.2 billion. Gasps echoed through the ballroom. Richard's face went white. Victoria actually dropped her wine glass. That's right, Mrs. Blackwood. The charity case you've been condescending to for 2 years is worth more than your entire family's net worth combined. I pulled out my phone and showed the room the Forbes article that had come out 3 days earlier. Mystery tech mogul revealed. David Chen, 28, behind biggest education software sale in history. I founded Phoenix Technologies when I was 19, using algorithms to help underprivileged kids access quality education online. While you were buying your third vacation home, I was building a company that's helped over 50 million children worldwide. The crowd was murmuring now, some people actually applauding. I work at the community center because I choose to, not because I have to. I wear regular clothes because I don't need to prove my worth through labels. And I fell in love with Isabella despite her family, not because of their money. Preston's jaw was literally hanging open. Audrey looked like she was going to be sick. But here's the real kicker, I continued, now fully enjoying myself. I've been anonymously funding this very charity for 3 years. That new computer lab for underprivileged kids, I bought it. The scholarship program that sent 200 kids to college, I endowed it. The mobile learning units reaching kids in low-income neighborhoods, my idea, my money. Richard tried to stand up, but his legs seemed to give out.
So when you say I don't belong in your world, you're absolutely right. I belong in a much better one. I turned to Isabella, who was staring at me with her mouth open. Bella, I love you, but I can't love someone whose family has spent 2 years systematically trying to destroy my self-worth. You knew what they were doing, and you never once stood up for me. David, she started. I'm flying to Cambodia tomorrow to open 3 new schools for kids who've never seen a computer. If you want to be part of a life that actually matters, you know where to find me. I pulled out a checkbook, not the community center checkbook, but my personal one from Goldman Sachs Private Wealth Management. Mr. Blackwood, since you're raising money for underprivileged children, here's my contribution. I wrote a check for $10 million and handed it to him. That should cover your fundraising goal for the next decade. The ballroom erupted in applause. People were standing up, phones were coming out to record, and the Blackwood family looked like they'd been hit by a truck. As I walked toward the exit, I turned back one last time. Oh, and Victoria, that minimum wage comment? I make more in passive investment income every month than Richard's entire company profits in a year. But thanks for reminding me why I prefer spending time with honest, hard-working people. The story made page 6 the next morning. Mystery billionaire humiliates Manhattan elite at their own charity gala. Isabella called 847 times over the next week. Richard tried to have his lawyer contact me about investment opportunities. Preston sent flowers with a note saying he'd misjudged me. Victoria actually showed up at the community center, claiming she wanted to get involved in charity work. I ignored them all. 6 months later, I married Maria, a teacher I met while building schools in Cambodia. She fell in love with a guy in work boots and a dusty t-shirt, who spent his days teaching kids to code. She had no idea I was wealthy until our 3rd date, and her first response was, "That's cool, but can you still help me grade these math tests?" Isabella? She married some Wall Street guy whose family approved of his pedigree. I heard through mutual friends that she's miserable, but at least her mother-in-law likes his credit score. The Blackwoods still send me Christmas cards every year, inviting me to their charity events. I send them back photos of the schools I'm building around the world with a simple note. This is what real charity looks like. Last month, Richard's real estate company went through a rough patch and lost a major development deal. The buyer who outbid them? Phoenix Educational Foundation, my nonprofit. We're turning the space into free after-school programs for kids from low-income families. The building will be called the David Chen Community Learning Center. I might have them put up a plaque by the entrance. Remember, worth isn't measured by the size of your bank account, but by the size of your character.
Some people just learn that lesson later than others.